What do you think about Prince Harry's new interview? Yesterday, he spoke with Anderson Cooper in an interview that aired on CBS's 60 Minutes, all to promote his shocking new memoir called Spare. So let's take a look at the top 10 secrets revealed in Prince Harry's 60-minute interview. Number 10. Why he went public. Anderson Cooper asked a question that had seemingly been on everyone's lips for quite some time. He brought up the fact that Harry and Meghan stepped back from their senior royal roles in January of 2020 and relocated to North America, then inked a deal with Netflix and gave a tell-all interview to Oprah Winfrey just months later, much to everyone's confusion, since it seemed like they wanted to live a private life and give up their royal titles. Since the Megxit, the couple has continued to use the Royal Duke and Duchess of Sussex titles that they received from the Queen on their 2018 wedding day, and Cooper asked, why not renounce your titles as Duke and Duchess? In response, Harry said, and what difference would that make? Then Cooper said, one of the criticisms that you've received is that, okay fine, you want to move to California, you want to step back from the institutional role. Why be so public? Why reveal conversations you've had with your father or your brother? You say you've tried to do this privately. Harry said, and every single time I've tried to do it privately, there have been briefings and leakages and planting of stories against me and my wife. You know, the family motto is never complain, never explain, but it's just a motto. It doesn't really hold. To this day, many have pointed out that Harry has neglected to specify exactly which stories were leaked and planted against them. So his allegation continues to be very vague without anything solid to back it up. Number 9. Push to the limit. The fact that Harry has been so outspoken about the private details of his relationship with William just goes to show you how far their rift has gone, to the point where it feels irreparable. In his latest media appearance, Harry spoke to Anderson Cooper on 60 Minutes and explained why he felt compelled to speak publicly about life within the royal family. He spoke about the time when he and Meghan stepped down from their senior duties in March of 2020, and explained that he sent countless emails and letters and messages over the 6 years, but he was not able to speak with his family privately. He also talked about the dirty game that his family would play and said they will feed or have a conversation with the correspondent, and that correspondent will literally be spoon-fed information and write the story. Harry went on to say, so when we're being told for the last 6 years we can't put a statement out to protect you, but you do it for the other members of the family, there comes a point when silence is betrayal. However, he did admit to wanting his father and brother back, even though he says they've shown absolutely no willingness to reconcile. So at this point, it would be a miracle if they ever speak to each other again. Number 8. His family was complicit. During his interview with 60 Minutes, Prince Harry said that he was incredibly naive about how the British press would treat his relationship with Meghan. He also noted the relationship itself had given him a new awareness, saying what Meghan had to go through was similar in some part to what Kate and what Camilla went through, although with very different circumstances. He then went on to say, but then you add in the race element, which was what the British press jumped on straight away. I went into this incredibly naive. I had no idea that the press was so bigoted. Hell, I was probably bigoted before the relationship with Meghan. Anderson Cooper then asked him if he thinks that he was bigoted before he saw Meghan, to which he said, I don't know, put it this way, I didn't see what I now see. He then turns his attention to the family and says, at that time I didn't fully understand how much or how complicit the family were in that pain and suffering that was happening to my wife. And the one group of people that could have helped or could have stopped this from happening were the very people that were encouraging it to happen. And I sit here now in front of you asking for a family, not an institution. I want a family, and I understand that might be hard for them to separate the two, but to me, everything that I've witnessed and experienced over the years, there has to be a separation. Number 7. They feared for their lives. Prince Harry came out with even more accusations against his family and claimed that they had gotten into bed with the devil by cooperating with the media, and said that he could not remain silent in the face of distortions of the truth. He also said that he felt very at peace with his life in California and had never been happier, despite fleeing his home country with Meghan and his son Archie. Harry said that Megxit was a necessity because at that time they were fearing for their lives after constant attacks from the British press. He cited a recent controversial article by Sun columnist Jeremy Clarkson, who wrote that he wanted to see Meghan be paraded through the streets naked and pelted with excrement. That article caused near universal condemnation, and Harry insisted that it was a perfect example of what he was talking about. He said, what he said was horrific and is hurtful and cruel towards my wife, but it also encourages other people around the UK and around the world, men particularly, to go and think that's acceptable to treat women that way. To use my stepmother's words recently as well, there is a global pandemic of violence against women. So clearly he wanted to make that point that hateful articles and headlines have real life consequences, and that's why he felt that Meghan was actually being threatened. Number 6. Wanting to reconcile. Although Although he insisted that he is now happy with his life away from his family, Harry claimed that he does in fact love his brother and father and wanted to reconcile with them. He said that he 100% believed that forgiveness could really happen, but he also said that now the ball is in their court, saying, "I would like to get my father back. I would like to have my brother back." Anderson Cooper then asked him how he could expect to reconcile with them since he's taken a flamethrower to family bridges, to which Harry said, "Well, they've shown absolutely no willingness to reconcile up until this point, and I'm not sure how honesty is burning bridges." According to Harry, that silence would only allow negative patterns to continue. He said, "So I don't know how staying silent is ever gonna make things better. That's genuinely what I believe." Later in the clip, Cooper asked him if he could see a day where he would return to being a full-time member of the royal family, to which he simply said no. He then said, "But it never needed to be this way. I want a family, not an institution." In Harry and Meghan's Netflix documentary, he also confessed that he misses the family gatherings at certain times of the year, and he also misses seeing his friends. He explained that he's lost certain friends now, which just speaks to how much he really sacrificed in the process of breaking away from the royal family. Number 5, they were villainized. At another point in the interview, Harry referred to the way that he and Meghan were treated by the royal family. Instead of righting the wrongs that were happening and coming out in defense of the couple, Harry said that his family felt as though it was better to keep the narrative going that they were villains. He claims that the British press was also an antagonist in their relationship that he had with the rest of the family, as the tabloids wanted to create as much conflict as possible. And according to him, that's part of the reason why William turned against Meghan, because he consistently read the negative stories about her. He said, "The saddest part of that is certain members of my family and the people that work for them are complicit in that conflict. So much of the relationship between me and William and the way it played out was because of the narrative, or the distorted narrative that was being pushed through the British press, and some people within his office that were feeding him utter nonsense." Harry also went on Good Morning America and said that the press pitched William and Kate against Meghan. He said that there's always been competition between him and his brother, but it was exacerbated by media attention. He went on to say, "They always pitched us against each other. They pitched Kate and Meghan against each other, and when he was asked if he thought this made the two women go against each other, he said yes without question." Number 4, he believed Diana faked her death. Another shocking revelation from his 60 Minutes interview came when Prince Harry said that he and his older brother believed for many years that their mother, the late Princess Diana, may have faked her death and would one day return to their lives. Diana was killed in a car crash in Paris in August of 1997, when Harry was 12 and William was 15. Over the years, she was a topic of fascination and scrutiny for the British tabloids, and also the media outlets around the world. Sadly, she was being hounded by paparazzi in the moments before her death. Quoting an extract from his memoir, Spare, Anderson Cooper said, "You write in the book, you say, I'd often say to myself first thing in the morning, maybe this is the day. Maybe this is the day that she's going to reappear." To which Harry said, "I just refused to accept that she was gone. I had huge amounts of hope." He said that he once thought maybe this is all part of a plan and his mother would eventually reappear into his life. Interestingly enough, he said that he held on to the belief that Diana was still alive until he was an adult. At 23, he visited Paris for the first time and asked a taxi driver to take him through the same tunnel where his mother was killed. Apparently, he even asked the driver to drive at the same speed that she was traveling at before her death, because he felt that he needed to take this journey and ride the same route. If anything, that was one of the saddest moments in the interview. Number 3, he never liked Camilla. In a shocking part of the interview, Prince Harry accused Camilla, the Queen Consort, of leaking stories about the family to the British media, all as a part of her campaign to rehabilitate her image. He also claimed that both he and his brother Prince William had asked the king not to marry her. He said, "We didn't think it was necessary. We thought that it was gonna cause more harm than good, and that if he was now with this person, that surely that would be enough." But then both of them eventually came around to the idea because they wanted their father to be happy, and they saw how happy he was with her. Camilla did go on to marry Charles in 2005, 8 years after the death of Diana, but it's common knowledge that the two of them had been involved romantically on and off for decades, and Diana had once famously referred to Camilla as the third person in their marriage. Because of that, her reputation was in tatters. Harry said this is why Camilla was so dangerous, because she needed to rehabilitate her image, seeing as she's been cast as the villain by the press for her part in the collapse of his parents' marriage. He said that made her dangerous, because because of the connections that she was forging within the British press, and there was open willingness on both sides to trade information. And with a family built on hierarchy, and with her on the way being to Queen Consort, there was gonna be people or bodies left in the street because of that. Number 2, he feels trapped. During his interview on Good Morning America, Harry spoke about his frustration with the fact that he can't ever get out of the royal family. He said that in the end, the palace had allowed them no compromise over their half-in, half-out hybrid plan to move to Canada while also still serving the crown. Apparently, this is what led to the Megxit crisis in 2020. He said, "This was really sad because I still to this day believe that this was entirely possible." The interviewer then said, "There are going to be people who say, why don't they either be in or get out? Because if you get out, there's no hypocrisy." To which Harry responded by saying, "I can't ever get out, and I'm incredibly aware of my position. I'm incredibly grateful for the life that I've had and continue to live, but there's no version of me ever able to get out of this. I was stunned that my family would allow security to be taken away, especially at the most vulnerable point for us." When he was asked about critics who say that he sold out his family, he says that the only way he could protect his family was to correct mistruths and write about the truth in one place, even though he did admit that writing the book in the first place was feeding the beast anyway. To be fair, he did say that he takes some kind of responsibility for his role in the breakdown of his relationship with his brother, but he then said, "What people don't know is the efforts that I've gone to resolve this rift privately." And coming in at number 1, William and Kate never liked Meghan. Over the weekend, Harry also spoke to ITV's Tom Bradby and addressed the tension in the family when he started seeing his now wife. When he told William and Kate about his relationship with Meghan, he said, "There was a lot of stereotyping that was happening that I was guilty of as well at the beginning around her being an American actress. Unfortunately, that stereotype was causing a bit of a barrier to them to introduce or welcome her in." Bradby then asked, "The impression is that from the get-go they didn't get on, fair?" To which Harry agreed and then claimed that that was for a lot of different reasons, saying that, "I had to put a lot of hope into the idea that, you know, it would be William and Kate and me and whoever. I thought the 4 of us would bring me and William closer together. We could go out and do work together, which I did a lot of as a third wheel to them, which was fun at times, but also I guess slightly awkward at times as well." He wanted to say that he didn't think they were ever expecting him to get into a relationship with someone like Meghan, who had a very successful career. According to Harry, this was the root of them not understanding each other, and at one point William even said that it would be difficult to marry her for this reason. That's everything that we have on the list for today. Please let me know what you think in the comments below, and I'll catch you in the next video.